So let's see if we can find out about this thing called HTML, this programming language called HTML. So I said that there's three things that we need. The first thing that we need is some kind of just a file. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up, see if we can find Notepad. Or Notepad or WordPad. There it is. We're just going to use a standard text editor. I just need a regular text editor. I don't need all the massive formatting that might come with a Word document. I just need a text editor. So we're going to open up one of these. I'm going to save it as two things. I'm going to save it as, the first thing I want to do is put it somewhere. I'm going to put it on my desktop because that seems to be like a great place to put it. Put it on my desktop, and then I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it my Webpage. And then the file name extension is going to be critically important. Let's go back to that earlier conversation about if I wanted to open up a Word document, what is the file name extension of a Word document? The Word document. Yeah, .docs or docx. What is the file name extension of an Excel spreadsheet? And I was struggling for the PowerPoint presentation. So the idea that the file name extension is what initiates the program to open it. So I have a file. I could try to the best of my ability to force open an XLS file with Word, and it might try it, and it just might have a bunch of unreadable characters in there. So I can try to force open an XLS file with Microsoft Word. File names extensions tells us what kind of document or what kind of software program should be opening it. And so I need to give this a file name extension so that it knows that it is an HTML document. So the file name extension for an HTML document is HTML or HTM. Either one is acceptable. But if you'll notice, my Notepad is attempting right at the moment to save it as a text file. That means it doesn't matter what I call it. If I save it as a text file, it will tack on a .txt at the end of it, and then my computer will think it's a text file. So I need to change this to all files so that it will allow me to save it as anything that I want to. Now, I'm going to call it my webpage.html. I'm going to put it on my desktop or wherever I want it to, and then I'm going to close it down. What I'm looking for is, I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where I saved it, and I'm looking for that file. This is the file that I just created right here, my webpage.html. I can tell that my system thinks it's a web page because the icon sitting beside it is the default program that wants to open it, and my icon, apparently, my default program for web pages is Chrome. Yours might be Internet Explorer or Firefox. It just depends on how you have it set up in your computer. So, yes, sir. If there is no option, then maybe it's going to allow you to save it already with that file name. Yeah, you might want to change to Notepad because WordPad is not giving you the ability. All right, so I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to go to wherever it is, and I can tell that it thinks it's a browser or an HTML file because of the icon is the default browser that my system uses to open those up. The best way? Click on it. See who opens it. If you don't know what your system thinks it is, click on it. If it opens in whatever text editor you created it in, then it doesn't think that it's a website or a web page. If when you click on that file that we just created, if it opens it up in a browser, life is good. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to open up this document. The nice thing is if I click on it, it's going to open it up in a browser. There it is. That means that my machine thinks that this file is a web page. So I'm going to shut this down. I need to open it up as a text file so that I can edit it, which means that I'm going to go to this file. If I right-click on it, one of the options should be open with, and if one of the options here is not Notepad, which mine is not, that means it doesn't know it's supposed to open it with Notepad. So the first time, I'm going to force it open with Notepad, which means that I'm going to go find Notepad on my computer, and then I'm going to force it open from in here. File, open, and then I'm going to go find it on my desktop. It's looking for text. I'm going to change it to all files, and let's see if we can find my document. There it is right there. Open. Now that I've forced it open with Notepad at least once, now when I right-click on it and I open with, Notepad should be one of the options. But just the first time it didn't know what to open it with. But once I did that, it remembers, oh, you opened it with Notepad once before. Now that should be in my drop-down list. Did you have a question? Notepad++ is just an updated version of Notepad. Either one of those is acceptable.